Hey there, everybody, and welcome to OutKick Bets, the show on this Thursday, the 6th of January. I am your host, Kayla Canarum, and joining me in Alabama is my good buddy and friend, Arky Shea. Arky, how's our Thursday?
It is a lot of cold wet outside right now. One of our producers, Donnie, is like 90 minutes north of me in Nashville, Tennessee area. They're
Yes.
getting a bunch of snow. I'm just getting wet rain. And fortunately for me, I get the ice to drive in later. So that's how my Thursday's going. I just prefer to stay home and make some money betting.
I like where your head's at. I love that we're getting a weather report from you daily now.
It's crazy around here, though. It's weird.
I haven't even looked outside yet this morning, but it's LA, so I'm assuming that it's like, 50s and partly cloudy or sunny. It's usually a safe assumption.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting old. Like, I get up at 7 in the morning and I stare out the window and I'm like, would this be good for my vegetable garden?
Do you have a vegetable garden?
No, but I have trees I planted and I really like the water for them to grow.
You should start an herb garden out there. Alabama's got weather suitable for that.
We do. We also got the tornadoes to rip them up, too.
That's a good point. All right. Enough about the weather. Although I do want to go to Nashville and play in that snow because Donnie showed us pictures and it looked so much fun. A lot of snow in Nashville last night. All right. No snow in LA today, so we're going to get right to it. A bet last night is where we will start. Kyrie Irving led the Nets to a big comeback. The Nets 129, Pacers 121. This game was a push for us, but Katie did lead the team in points at 39, rebounds at 8, and assists at 7, while Kyrie picked up right where he left off like no time had passed, really settling into that second half, leading that rally, coming in right behind KD with 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. Domantas Sabonis led the Pacers with 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. Arky, what did you make of this game and Kyrie's return?
First things first, James Harden can go suck an egg. That's what he can do. And the reason is because at the end of that game, they were up 10. We were ready to cover. And instead of taking a shot with 4 or 5 seconds at the end of the shot clock and then letting whatever happens, he just holds the ball for a shot clock violation. And the Nets were just going to allow somebody for the Pacers to score a layup. And they did. And that's what got us the push at -8. So, suck an egg, James Harden.
Thanks,
Other than
James.
that, I was surprised by how good Kyrie looked in that game. He looked like he had not lost a half a step at all. He looked great out there. And the fact that he played 32 minutes, that surprised me too. He's apparently already has stayed in great game shape and he's ready to play. Now this is his only game for a couple of more days, but he looked pretty good in the comeback. That was kind of nice to see if you were trying to bet that game like we were. And thank the world and James Harden that we pushed. James Harden, I'm looking at you.
Looking at you, James. All right. It was a night of pushes for us, which hasn't really happened much on our show. Iowa State 51, Texas Tech 47. I don't think we made a graphic for this, but I took Tech, you took Iowa State, and neither of us hit.
That was another weird game. Like, that was a game where Iowa State had a 7-point lead. Under 10 seconds to go, Texas Tech inbounds the ball, and essentially a half-court shot at the buzzer to give us the +4 push. Golly, I don't think I've had a multiple push night in like 2 years. And to have 2 pushes on that? It was a great game, though. Really defensive, fun game to watch.
Push it real good.
Man, that push sucked. Thanks, Salt and Pepper.
I love where your head's at. Picked it up right there. All right. Night of pushes. We're going to leave that behind us and move on to our game of the day, which is some Big Ten basketball action. Number 13, Ohio State, 9-2, 3-0 in conference play at the Hoosiers, who are 10-3, 1-2 in conference play. All of these lines are according to FanDuel Sportsbook. We've got OSU right now is the 3.5-point dog. This line already moved this morning with a total sitting at a 137.5. Ohio State is coming into this Thursday night matchup with 5 consecutive wins, looking to make it 6. So far this season, they've had wins over ranked Seton Hall. Shout out Lauren, our producer. Wisconsin, and most impressive was their win against number 1 Duke. At the time, of course. They are coming off their 3rd consecutive conference win over Nebraska on Sunday in overtime. Indiana, meanwhile, will look to keep their perfect 9 home game win streak alive when the Buckeyes come to town tonight. However, the Hoosiers have yet to beat a ranked team, having only faced number 22 Wisconsin so far, and are off a bit to a slow start in conference play. They enter tonight's game coming off a loss to Penn State on the road, also on Sunday. Arky, another tricky college basketball showdown to tempt us tonight. How are you going to be playing this one?
It's the best game on the slate, so we had to do it for our game of the day. But you know it, me and Ohio State are not seeing eye to eye so far this year.
You guys don't mesh well. Nope.
This will be the 5th time I've bet them this season. All 4 times I've lost, and twice I bet for them, twice I bet against them. So maybe take that into account before you make the pick that I'm about to make. Ohio State is a better team. Ohio State has a better premier player in E.J. Liddell. He's averaging 20 points a game, 11 rebounds a game with 3 blocks. He has been a stud. And Ohio State has looked over the past few weeks more like the Ohio State we thought we were going to see starting the season.
Yes.
They have been really, really, really good. Of those 5 wins you mentioned that they've won in a row, 2 of those have been Big Ten Conference games on the road. So they have been really rounding into form of what I think they can be. Indiana is a good defensive team. And if you like Ken Palm ratings, they're a really good defensively efficient team. They're really high on the defensive efficiency rating.
Yep.
So if you're into that, you could think them at home at Assembly Hall, that's going to give them a little bit of love. Obviously, you can see that line opened up at -2 in favor of Indiana. It's up to 3.5 now. It just happened very quickly. So what is the play here? I honestly think the play for me is Ohio State money line. Again, they're going to punch me in the face when I do it, so that's fine. I'm going to try to hedge my bets with another play on this game. But I think Ohio State can go on the road. They've already done it twice this season. I think they can go in and win against a slightly inferior Indiana team that struggles to find playmakers at times in crucial situations. So I'm going to take Ohio State money line, which is plus 136 over on FanDuel right now. And I'm going to go play the over 137.5. I really like that total. I think this is a pretty high-scoring game, comparatively speaking. And I think Ohio State gets the win, and they score about 145, 148 points tonight. So give me those 2 bets. And Ohio State, I'm back for you. Please do not disappoint me.
I'm nervous for you, but I like those bets.
Thank you.
All right. Well, because by now we know I love to have all the stats and trends, so I'm going to start with that. Ohio State is 4-7 against the spread so far this season. Indiana is 9-4 and are 8-4 when playing as at least the 3.5-point favorite. To add to that, the Buckeyes did not cover in their one game they went in as the 3.5-point dogs. E.J. Liddell continues to ball for the Buckeyes, leading the team in points, averaging 19.6 a game, and rebounds at 7.3. Trace Jackson-Davis leads the Hoosiers also in points and rebounds, averaging 19.3 and 8.2 respectively. You've got the Buckeyes, who specialize in offense, as you mentioned, ranking 7th in the country when it comes to offense efficiency. Then the Hoosiers have a solid defense, who ranked 14th nationally in defense efficiency. This is another tricky one for me, but I'm going to go with my gut. And as bad as the Hoosiers are going to want to improve that conference record and keep it perfect at home, I'm going to ride with Ohio State. Go Buckeyes and their offense at plus 3.5 as they ride into Bloomington tonight. So right there with you, I'm just going to take the spread.
Yeah, I like
and cross my fingers.
Holtman owns Indiana in his career so far at Ohio State. Plus, Trace Jackson-Davis, he needs help for Indiana. He can't just do this all himself tonight. If he can get some help, I think it's going to be a pretty close game. But I think if he gets some help, yeah, there's a good reason that they're a favorite. They're not a bad team. They're just all over the place at times.
Get the man some help. Come on. All right, we're going to move to our spotlight matchup. I had nothing to do with this. Heading to the NFL, the Chiefs are 11-5, 4-3 on the road. They will visit the Broncos, division rivals, who are 7-9, 4-4 at home. Right now, Kansas City is the 10-point favorite with a total at 44.5. Dear Denver, please don't kill our vibe. By the way, Arky, I did not bet the Chiefs last week. Hallelujah. Because that means my perfect betting record with the Chiefs is still going 2 months strong. So let's contain it on Saturday. Probably just, or continue it on Saturday. I'm sure I just jinxed myself. Oh well. And yes, this game was moved from Sunday to Saturday at 4:30 Eastern. So mark your calendars. This one doesn't mean a whole lot. The Broncos have been eliminated from the playoffs, but it would be nice if the Chiefs won to try to get back on top of the AFC West, or the AFC in general, sorry. Go Texans. In the unlikely event that Denver were to win this game, it would be the first time since week 2 of 2015, by the way. But again, the Chiefs want that top spot in the AFC, and they are certainly not going to get cute and lose the number 2 seed in the process. Teddy Bridgewater is still expected to miss, meaning Drew Lock, MIZ, should once again get the start. I'm going to refrain from getting too cocky here because it always seems to come back to bite me. So, Arky, save me from myself and tell me how you are going to be betting this Saturday afternoon game.
Well, until you start looking at some of the trends and the numbers in this, you sort of forget a couple of things. One, like you said, the Chiefs haven't lost to the Broncos in 12 straight games.
It's been a minute.
It's been, like you said, since September 2015 that happened. Patrick Mahomes is 8-0 against the Denver Broncos. That's not so great either. I keep trying to find ways to keep Denver in this game, right? Like Vic Fangio and that defense has been stellar all season, but they keep getting bit by injury bugs, concussion bugs, COVID bug. Like, it just seems like there's something always nipping at their heels. And you see that Kansas City needs this game to put pressure on the Titans on Sunday for the chance to be able to get the number 1 seed because the Titans hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. So the thing for me that seems most interesting about this is that Kansas City not only dominates Denver in general, they dominate them against the spread too. They've won 6 straight games in Denver against the spread. Of those 12 games I just mentioned they won in a row, 7 of them have been by double digits, which is what we're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. They just assault the Broncos every time they get a chance to see them. It feels like for the most part over the last 6 seasons.
And I love every minute of it.
I bet you do love every minute of it. The interesting thing is that the Broncos do, as the division opponents, keep Patrick Mahomes the most honest. He's only averaging like 251 yards a game against them in those 8 meetings. He's got, I think, 10 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, which is not his highest in either one of those. So there is a reasonable thought that this game could be a little closer than, let's say, 30-3. But I do feel like this is a 27-10 type game all over the place on Saturday afternoon. So for that reason, I feel like I got to go with Kansas City -10. A road favorite by double digits I don't usually love, but this year's NFL has taught me a lot of things, and that those aren't impossible anymore. In fact, they're fairly frequent this year, especially the double-digit favorites, even on the road. And when there's this kind of matchup, the motivation is for Kansas City to get in, punch them in the mouth, get out, try to stay safe. In Denver, all you got is sort of that pride on the line. Is that pride going to be enough for against this Kansas City team to be in a big bounce-back spot after that loss to the Bengals last week? I don't think so, actually. I don't think so. So I'm taking Kansas City -10 in this game on the road at Denver Saturday afternoon.
Shocking no one. I'm right there with you, pal. The Broncos are pretty much outmatched in every way possible in this game. So back to those trends, because I guess they're good to have in your back pocket. The Chiefs are 8-8 against the spread this season, and the Broncos sit at 7-9, and they actually won against the spread this season in their only game when going in as the 10-point dogs. Kansas City has hit this total in 10 of 16 games so far, and the Broncos have reached it in just 5. I think the biggest question mark, Arky, here is at what point the Chiefs are probably going to pull Mahomes. Hopefully we'll have a lead that is healthy enough to where they can do that. So for that reason, I would probably stay away from the total, although I kind of am tempted to lean the over, but again, not going to play that one. I am playing the Chiefs at -10. They are averaging 28 points to Denver's 19 a game. They are consistently putting up around 405 yards a game next to the Broncos' 344. But again, do with that what you will. They're just the better team, offensively, defensively. I'm riding with Mahomes at -10, and yes, could see this line still change between now and Sunday, but give me the Chiefs -10, and let's go for my perfect 2.5-month Chiefs betting streak.
All right, if you win, we both win.
If the Chiefs win, everyone wins on this show. That is right.
That's not what I said.
Well, that's what happens. All right, moving on to our quick hitters. Arky, what are you looking at for your quick hitter?
Hey, speaking of the Chiefs and the number 1 seed, the Titans are also double-digit favorites on the road at the Texans this week. And I definitely know where your heart is leaning towards. But if somehow Kansas City bungles it up against the Broncos in a divisional matchup at the end of the season, then the Titans don't really have to do nearly as much or really anything to be able to get the number one seed. Actually, if you look at it, there's a scenario where the Patriots and the Bengals, if those two things happen ahead of them, could also get the number one seed. So it should be motivation to play this game. Yeah, it is. It's a log jam up at the top of the AFC. So what I like about this game is the rematch factor of this game and what it means to the Titans. The Titans obviously have a chance to get that number one seed, just clinch it, no questions asked, with just a win. But are they 10 points better than the Texans? The question's simple, but not easy. Because Davis Mills, when you look at how he's played since he's been the starting quarterback, he's actually been a pretty steady and good force for the Texans. He completes about 67% of his passes, doesn't make a whole bunch of mistakes. He's someone that actually keeps that team between the lines, so to speak, and gives them a chance. You've seen them have a couple of wins you didn't expect them to have recently. But I do feel better the fact that I got to see them get punched in the mouth by San Francisco and their backup quarterback last week. Because the Texans beat the Titans last time they played, but that was a Titans team that threw it 52 times with Ryan Tannehill. That ain't happening this week. The Titans run. They are the most prolific rushing attack this offseason, or this season, I should say. And the Texans are giving up the most rushing yards this season and the second most rushing touchdowns allowed. And despite Derrick Henry not being back quite yet, he looks like he's back at practice, but I don't expect him to play. They won't need him against the Texans. So I think the fact that you get the revenge, you got the motivation for the number one seed. I think you have Ryan Tannehill not having to be captain hero. You have A.J. Brown and Julio Jones healthy for this game. I think this all spells for a Titans big victory. Their offense isn't explosive, but I could see them winning by 13 points in this game. So for that reason, give me the Titans to shatter your dreams on Sunday afternoon and cover the 10 in Houston.
How rude. I would never say that about your Cowboys.
Get to the Super Bowl and we might.
Okay, I was going to ask. So Derrick Henry is practicing, yes, but not expected to play.
Well, that's not really been sort of said, but I wouldn't expect it. They don't need him. If they can get, first of all, if the Chiefs lose, then they don't have to worry about it. They'll get the number one seed likely, and then they can. But they can win this game without him. Derrick Henry, they could use a couple extra weeks for him to get even healthier and get ready for their second round matchup.
Right, save him for the playoffs. That makes more sense.
I think they can.
All right. I am also going to be sticking to the NFL. Got your Cowboys, Arky, 11-5, 6-2 on the road, visiting those division rivals Eagles, who are 9-7, 3-4 at home. We get to see these two NFC rivals go at it again. Both teams having already punched their ticket to the playoffs, sitting in first and second in the NFC East, respectively. Dallas right now is the 6.5-point favorite with the total at 42.5. This line has already moved even this morning after it was announced that Cowboys star rookie Micah Parsons was placed on the COVID list. Not great for the Cowboys. The Cowboys were on a 4-game win streak before the Cardinals put an end to that one Sunday in a 25-22 loss at Jerry's World. The Eagles are looking to pick up their 5th straight win and could very well do it at another Saturday game. The last time these two met, it was September 27th in a 41-21 win, again from Arlington. As far as any playoff implications, Dallas is likely not going to move from their current 4th seed. However, there are a few crazy scenarios in which the Cowboys win, plus a few other things happen. They could end up in the 3rd and even 2nd seed. But again, highly unlikely because that would require a lot of moving parts. Aren't the playoffs fun? Despite this game not having a lot to do with their current seed, Jerry Jones made it clear that the starters will be playing on Saturday because, quote, "We plan to play to win." Meanwhile, the Eagles are rumored to be resting their starters, and while, yes, Jerry Jones did say the Cowboys will not be, he's also not the coach, so no telling what Mike McCarthy will do come game time. Or is he the coach? It's hard to tell sometimes. Basically, if the player is healthy, expect them to play for the Cowboys, but we may not see someone like an Ezekiel Elliott, who's been pretty banged up throughout the season. So what needs to happen for Dallas? Well, they need to remember they have one of the best offenses in the country and get their confidence back before heading into the playoffs. They have the number 1 scoring offense and the number 2 total offense in the NFL, yet The Cardinals held them to 22 points and 301 total yards last weekend. Luckily, they'll be able to get a true playoff test with this Eagles defense on Saturday. And speaking of that defense, they have not allowed more than 20 points in a game since week 11 and no more than 350 yards since week 9. Hello. That is why they are ranked 8th in points allowed per game and 6th in yards allowed per game. But again, this is when both teams are playing at full strength, so who knows which players will be taking the field in Philly, which is why betting this one is also going to be fun. And now for those trends, Dallas is 12-4 against the spread this season and are 4-2 in their 6 games when they are favored by 7 or more. On the other side, the Eagles are 9-7 against the spread and 1-1 when going in as the 7-point dogs. Philly has exceeded this total of 42.5 in 11 of their 16 games in 3 of their last 5, while the Cowboys have done it in 12 games this season, including 4 of their last 5 games. So, needless to say, you'd probably be okay taking the over here of 42.5. I think based on what we know, Dallas will get it done from Lincoln Financial Field. I think they'll get their groove back, and I will be taking them at -6.5. You're welcome, Arky. And yeah, give me the over 2 to make it fun, even though we don't know who's playing. Eagles probably aren't going to be putting out their starters, but let's have some fun. Give me the over.
I think it'll be interesting to see how strong the commitment is to the game for the Cowboys. I don't think you want to be limping to it with a 2-game losing streak into the playoffs the next week.
Right. It would not great for team morale.
Yeah, it would be nice. If it, nothing else, like you give full effort, and if that does happen to get you a little short, then yeah, you can sort of live with that. But I don't think you would want to be resting a bunch of guys and limping on a 2-game losing streak going into the playoffs, because I've seen this happen with the Cowboys before. That ain't a recipe for success.
Yes. For whatever reason, the Cowboys struggle, but we'll see if they get it done this year. All right. Last but not least, our games to look out for. Arky, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
More basketball. In fact, it's another basketball
Woo!
game tonight. Big Ten action. That's right. Maryland's still allowed in the Big Ten. They are taking on the Illinois Fighting Champagnes. Illinois is 11.5-point favorite in this game, and for good reason. Maryland is bad at shooting, and I don't know. Let's ask this question to you, Kayla.
Oh boy.
Is it important to shoot well in basketball?
Yes. Is this a trick question?
Well, no, Maryland just doesn't do it. Maryland's just not good at shooting, and they don't have a lot of star players. They have a lot of role players on their team, and I think that's fine. That can win you some games. That continuity can, but they just haven't been the Maryland. I even think a lot of people thought they would be this year. I think they're 8-4 on the season. Well, Illinois is quietly under the ranked radar of dangers. You look at the big man Kofi Cockburn, who is averaging 23 and 12 on the season. He is a monster. Exploded onto the scene for most people last year at Illinois, and this year he's been nothing but a true behemoth. And then I got to look at my man Alfonso Plummer. It's good to call
Let's call him Alfonso.
And then forget his last name. My man, Alfonso Ribeiro, from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. No, Alfonso Plummer, who's scored 20 points in 7 of the team's last 9 games. He's been great. This Illinois team is a hard out, and it's hard to beat them. And 11.5 points is sort of a lot in conference play, except I'm getting them at home. That hurt me in the Tennessee game last night. That was an abomination of a game. But this one, I don't think it's the same way. I trust Illinois more than I trusted Tennessee last night. So give me Illinois minus 11.5 tonight to cover against Maryland.
Okay. You brought him up, not me, but because you brought up Alfonso Ribeiro, I interviewed him at the Marshall Falk Golf Tournament in St. Louis a few years ago. And by a few years ago, I mean like 8.
He seems like he'd be one of the 3 nicest people ever.
So nice. What's the dance he does? We had him do it.
Yeah, the Carlton dance.
The Carlton, thank you. Yep. Great guy. And that's your pop culture segment for today.
Yeah, I'd love to see some Tom Jones to that, but I'm not allowed to.
Okay. Well, I will not be looking to college basketball. I will be looking to the NFL, where the Saints are 8-5, 5-3 on the road, visiting the Falcons 9-7, 2-5 at home. New Orleans right now is the 4-point favorite with a total at 40. And let's be real, ain't no love lost between these divisional rivals. Yes, Atlanta has been booted from the playoff race, but the Saints have not. And don't think for a second the Falcons are going to make it easy for them. The Saints can get in if they beat the Falcons on the road and if the 49ers lose to the Rams. And to make things extra fun, this game was moved to the same time as the Rams and 49ers game, so the players will not be able to check that score and will just have to go out and instead control their own destiny. The suspense, I love it. These two last faced each other in Week 9, where Atlanta got the win at 27-25. But what I'm focusing on is the Saints' road record of 5-3, while the Falcons sit at 2-5 at home. So definitely bodes well for New Orleans here. The Saints have won 3 of their last 5, including a win over Carolina on Sunday. On the other side, Atlanta has lost 3 of their last 5, including the last game at Buffalo, 29-15. It's no secret both teams have had up and down seasons. Matt Ryan lost his 2 greatest weapons in Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, resulting in one of the worst seasons of his career, although he has mostly relied on Russell Gage and Kyle Pitts. They've also got Cardell Patterson, who is putting up yards on the ground, so the Saints' biggest task will be containing him on defense. Speaking of that defense, they are allowing the 4th fewest points per game at around 19.7. On offense, the Saints just need to keep the ball on the ground between Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, as well as limit those turnovers, and I don't see how they don't come out on top in this one on Sunday. And last but not least, New Orleans is 8-8 against the spread on the season and 2-3 when going in as the 4-point favorite. The Falcons are just 5-11 against the spread and 1-6 in games where they are the 4-point underdog. No, New Orleans has hit the over of 40 in 9 of their games on the year, and Atlanta has done it in 10. I will be doing 2 things, one of which is not touching the total of 40, and the second is taking the Saints at -4 because playoffs, and they just have more to play for. So they play better on the road. I'm going to get this Braun again. Okay, is it who dat or who day for the Saints?
Who dat? Who day is the Bengals.
Why are they so close? Why do they have like such similar? I don't understand that.
Because they're cool chants.
What is the Saints? Why do I always put myself in this situation? Who dat? They're going to beat them Saints. What does that even mean? Is that their thing? Is that their saying?
Well, let's just say the Saints have a lot of things. All right, and that's one of them. Yes.
Okay. Then who dat? Give me the Saints -4, and again, not touching the total. But that's going to do it for us. Our overview of the day and our game of the day. Arky is taking Ohio State moneyline at +136 and the over of 137.5. I am taking Ohio State +3.5 in that one. And our spotlight matchup, Arky is taking the Chiefs at -10, and shocker, so am I, taking the Chiefs at -10 over the Broncos Saturday. And our quick hitters, Arky is taking the Titans at -10. I will be taking the Cowboys at -6.5. And in our games to look out for, Arky is taking Illinois -11.5, and I am taking the Saints at -4. Arky, any big plans for the weekend besides watching a ton of sports and making money?
All ball, baby. It's all ball.
Ball is life.
Ball is life. Thank you.
And avoiding any ice on the roads.
We'll get there.
All right, that's going to do it for our Thursday show. That is Arky Shea. I am Kayla Canarum. This is OutKick Bets the show. As always, don't forget to make your picks at FanDuel.com/OutKick. Best of luck in your betting, friends, and we will see you right back here, same place, same time on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone.